These first problems, they didn't have instructions at the top, but like we said in class, the instructions are to determine if they're equivalent. If this function is equivalent to this function. And they're multiple representations, right? This is algebraic equation. This is a graph. So I'm doing problem number 3. These are the instructions for problems 2 through, I think, all the way up to 6. So all the way up through 6, that's exactly 2 through 6. You're supposed to determine if this over here is the same as this over here, no matter what the form is. So the easiest way I know to see if this is the same as this is to get out my graphing calculator. Now here, I don't have a graphing calculator at home. And you probably don't have a graphing calculator either. So if you go to my website, if you're lucky enough to have a Android, you can download that Wabbit Emo app, and my website will tell you how to. If you have a laptop, you can do the same thing for your laptop so that you can be using a graphing calculator like the one that you're going to have in class, like the one you're going to have to use on the NC final and get practice with that. I don't have the option of those, so I just have to use Desmos, which will make do for now. So don't know if I can get you to see this. Let me see, here we go. So Desmos right here on my phone, this is the Desmos app. So I can put this function right here into my graphing calculator. So x squared minus 7x plus 1. And now I'm going to look at the graph and see if it matches up. So if you look at this graph right here, and then you look at the graph on the paper, notice this graph right here seems to go through the point 0, 1. It also goes down here through something like positive 1, negative 5 right there. So we're going to look down here if that's what happens on this graph. This graph also kind of goes through 0, 1, 1, negative 5. So the two graphs do seem to match up. A way to double check is to look at the table, which you all know how to do on your graphing calculator. Here it's under settings and then table. And if you notice, this has some exact points. And you can use those points to try to match up to this graph down here. So again, 0, 1, 1, negative 5, 2, negative 9, negative 1, positive 9. So all these points seem to be matching up with this table right here. So those are two different ways to try to figure out if it's the same. So are these equivalent expressions? Are these equivalent functions? Yes. And why? Because when I used a graphing calculator, the graph and table matched the points on this graph. There's plenty of explanations. The idea is, though, when I input something in here, I'm going to get an output that's the same as input and output here. So if I put a 1 here, I'm going to get a negative 5 out for y. If I put a 1 in this graph, I'm going to get a negative 5 out for y. So the inputs and the outputs are the same. I'm going to keep going and talk through number 7. So here we are at number 7 now. They did the problem for you, but I'm going to talk you through why it works. So notice that this says model each scenario using a table, a graph, and a function. Those are the instructions for problems 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So for all those problems, you're going to need to create a table, a graph, and a function. And when they say a function, what they really mean is an expression or an equation using function notation like this. Because technically all of these are functions with input and output. So I'm going to read this. A local arts festival has 150 vendors and 75 volunteers. Each volunteer receives a t-shirt and earns $2 for each hour spent volunteering towards a gift card for the festival. Model the value of a gift card that a volunteer can earn. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to start, I think, is with a table. Tables tend to make the most sense. So let's say you didn't see those values. They're telling you that our input is going to be the time spent volunteering, and then the value of the gift card is the output. So if I spent 0 hours volunteering, I'm going to get 0 on that gift card, right? So they don't even have that value there, but I'm going to write 0, 0 here for my table. Now if I spend 1 hour volunteering, if I think about it, I'm going to make $2, right? I earn $2 on that gift card every time. So 1 hour spent volunteering will give me $2 on the gift card. Now thinking through 2 hours, if I spend 2 hours volunteering, I'm going to end up with 4 on the gift card, and so forth. 3,